in order to promote the industry. So who pays, but anyway, I'll leave that there, but it's just a heads up. Second part of it is water conservation plans. It'll be mandatory to prepare water conservation plans within established targets, and it's going to be regulated. So it'll be something that all municipalities will have to deal with. Now, there's pros and cons. On the one side, everybody is, applauds conservation, it's all good stuff. But you put your financial hat on, you go, well, wait a minute, like if we're not selling as much, that means that we still have all these fixed costs. What does that impact on? So, it means the rates start going up, but consumers consume less. They pay the same bill, but they're consuming, so it's a vicious circle. So wait for that. That's going to have implications. The biggest concern is on the business industries, farm industries and such, because that's part of their processes, right? Where consumers at home can make those reductions.
We're already starting to see that in some of our water bills. People have gone for the environmental toilets. Yep. They've gone for the new washing machines that use less water. They've gone for anything that they can to do that, doing laundry after 7 o'clock, like the smart plan that's already in place. So we have already started to see a fair bit of water conservation and down dollars from the water usage already in the municipality. So it is definitely happening.
Yeah, and there's a number of different things. I mean, from the studies that are done, the biggest impact on conservation is changing the toilets, changing the apertures and stuff like that. In 1997, they changed the Building Code Act. So all new houses and stuff have to have the low flow toilets and stuff like that. And then existing homes, over a period of time, people renovate and toilets break down and stuff, so that they're being fed in. And I think that's, and the washers and dryers only last 10 years, 15 years. So we're seeing all of that. It's a natural occurrence because of the technologies to putting in all the appliances and such. So, but I have no clue what is going to be required by this plan, whether you have to, and what the targets are. Like, what if your consumption is averaging, X number of cubic meters per capita, but somebody else is higher or lower? Is that something? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but this is going to have regulations around it, and you have to conform to the regulations.
Will that not also, like, with Martin Shuley here talking about his 5-acre, his plan there, and he was talking at break that he was interested in doing further planning for that. If he's using the water that we're consuming throughout the daytime at night, that's going to balance out the water bills, isn't it?
That's still consuming.
That doesn't, what is conservation, using less water? That's where, I don't know how they're going to implement it. I know that I know Peterborough were criticized because they had high, flows per capita, but it was, half of their flows are businesses. So how can you be critical if you measure it on a per capita when you got processing plants and stuff like that that are using it? Like look at Leamington with with Heinz, or Tecumseh with Jolly Green Giant. I mean, those are high volume users. Okay. So anyway, I'm just giving you the heads up. This is what's coming. Third one is preparing sustainability plans for water, wastewater, and once again, stormwater. And I'll give you a little bit more detail on this. Before I leave this, they set last year in June, was that kind of like a coming out party for the new, they put together the Water Opportunities Act committee that's going over assessing all of this, and will be making recommendations to the province. I'm sure there'll be white papers and such, but that'll lay the foundation for the regulations. So that was put into place about 7-8 months ago. Okay, so we will see stuff coming out this year, I'm sure. Whether it's implemented for this year, next year, they normally wait for the election year. Why wait? Let's start things up. With the sustainability plans, it extends from the work we've already done. Financial plans, but it requires more detailed review on the water side. That regulation that I talked about for the financial plans It was mandatory for water and it was encouraged for wastewater, but because it was passed under the Safe Drinking Water Act, had no jurisdiction on the wastewater side. So, and once again, they're gonna put performance targets on all of this sustainability plan elements. You're gonna have to do an asset management plan for replacement of the physical infrastructure. We've talked about that before, that was under SWISA. There's the financial plan, which is really talking about how you're gonna pay for all of this long-term asset management plan. It's almost like a long-term capital budget, and how are you gonna pay for it over time. And then for water, the conservation plan, you have to do an assessment of risk that may interfere with the future delivery of the municipal service, so water, wastewater, and storm, including, if required by regulation, the risk posed by climate change. And you have to have a plan to deal with it. So.
Do they include the crystal ball too with it, Gary?
I know, but I think they give you the funny cigarettes. You know, the visiting session. That's you're an agricultural community.
There's our new industry. Right on.
There you go.
Oh.
So you can see that, you can be part of the vision too.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then strategies for maintaining and improving the municipal service to ensure future demands are satisfied, etc. So you can see there now where the legislation that we had before is becoming even more pronounced. Like it's being embellished over time. As I say, what we will see over, I would predict by mid or early, even into early fall, we're going to see the white papers that are coming out and be able to start to understand what all of this is going to do to us with respect to changing your processes or financial.
We have a deja vu going on this one, sort of like the development charges, where we had a certain regime and then another type of regime came in and made some major changes, so we can do a lot of planning in the next year or two to meet the needs, and then the major regime changes, like you had with the DC, which happened in the 90s.
The key elements in here, the push that you're seeing across the board on the asset management stuff, that will happen. That's a recommendation of Judge O'Connor. It's in the threads of all the legislation. They had the announcement earlier where they're making money available, they make $8.5 million available for doing asset management plans for municipalities under 20,000, and then making available $51 million towards key projects. The continued thing in right now is, especially for water and wastewater, is renewing renewing the infrastructure. Well, on average, and I'll show it for your cost, but on average, across Ontario, at least $25,000 per customer for water, to get the water into your house, to get the sewage out. And a lot of municipalities are up in the $35,000 range. So when you think of that per customer, think of that order of magnitude. And if the system's old, it doesn't take long for everything to and how the affordability, how do you pay for it? So that's right there on the radar with the problem. So
this is adding so many sideways to it with the studies, etc. Right? We'll have to pay for the studies to get those structures in place, all those things that you've just gone through. Right?
It'll be part of it. It'll be part of your licensing regime every 5 years to at least renew these plans. They're going to, just a little bit, they're going to perform, the performance indicators will be established by service. They may relate to financing, operation, maintenance of the service, and anything else the minister deems appropriate. And they may be different for different service providers or different areas of the province. One of the criticisms, or probably the biggest criticism, is one size fits all. And at least they're going to be, well, at least this says that they're going to consider varying it by type of provider and I guess areas. Regulations to talk about timing, contents of the plans, identifying what proportion of the plan will require certification. Under SWISA, the asset management plan was what they were considering was an engineer to have certified that plan. And then on the financial plan, they wanted